Hi guys, it's Andy from Abletunes, and recently we received a message from one of our customers with a question about one of our tutorials. This is a pretty basic technique, and it is well covered on YouTube, but we decided to make one ourselves that gets a little more advanced. So here we have a template queued out. We're going to be using this one because it does contain some nice vocals.
We will never go until we drop it low.
We'll make a reverse reverb for it. We also have a nice drop. We'll put that on there too. All right, let's start with the vocal. It does already have some processing on it, so let's disable all of that. Okay, now we won't hear any delay or reverb on the tail of the reverse reverb. Okay, so we're going to copy this vocal here and remove all the automation. We don't need any of this. So create a new audio track here. Set your input to vocal track 43. Set it in. And let's reverse it here. So it's going to sound like this. So let's edit the reverb. All right, I set it for wet. Let's set high quality. I recommend you experiment with some different quality settings. And for time, we need long effect. Set it to long. If you need something shorter, you would set a shorter decay time. So let's set this around 7 seconds. So let's see how it sounds. All right, this tail will be our reverse reverb. It sounds pretty good. All right, we've recorded that. It's pretty short, but we don't need it that long. So let's set auto, and I will reverse that again. Let's see how it sounds. So this is what we got. Let's see how it sounds in context. Now we don't need this part. We only need the reverb tail. So it's very important to line it up right. Otherwise it's not going to sound that great. You need to get the effect really working. So be sure that transition is smooth. All right, so let's hear how it sounds. Oops, I forgot to disable this one. All right, let's move it over just a little bit. So let's get some fades in there too.
We will never.
Yeah, something like that. You can always add some extra reverb on there too. So we've got some send reverb here. It's very short. So I'll edit this a little. Give it some tail to help it blend in. So let's hear how it sounds all together.
We will never go.
Yeah, I think we can move it just a beat. Yeah, like that. So also I'm going to adjust the volume a little too.
We will never go until.
Maybe a little more.
We will never go. We will never go until.
I'm also going to add a fade here. So I've got a little bit better control of the way it comes in.
We will never.
So it sounds like this.
We will never go on.
Yeah, it sounds okay, but I think we can make it sound a little better. So let me disable this one. Get all this. Now, I want this tail sound to be a little dirty. You're going to hear a little bit of this. These little breaths and stuff at the end, you can kind of hear that dirt and mud, so we need to kind of clear this up a little bit. So it's got all this unnecessary noise. So I'll make a reverb tail just from one word. So let's see. Here's the first word. We'll add some fades. So make sure that this part doesn't contain any other noises like breaths or clicks or anything that would appear in the tail. You want it to be completely clear. So let's hear what we have now. Now we can adjust the decay setting to make it a little longer, or you can experiment with the reverb size. The longer you have, the wider it'll be. But you won't really hear this. So let's take it down and we'll set it about like this. So now this tail is a little bit more huge and tunnel-like. So let's set it like this. So I'll set it in and hit record. So now our reverb contains all of this extra reverb on there. So let's reverse that again. And here, we'll compare it with the previous version. So let's make this one red. And let's check the previous version. You can hear that this one is a lot more clear. So it's going to be easier to get a smoother transition with the first one. It's going to sound a lot more clear, so let's just delete it. So let's put that in and let's do that again. Whoops, I forgot to remove that. So let's enable all of these. All right, we'll get that lined up. I'll put a little fade on there. And let's hear how it sounds.
We will never go until.
Let's move that just a little bit.
We will never. We will never go.
Move it a little more.
We will never.
All right, so we're going to do this.
We will never go. We will never go on.
Now, we can also put a ping-pong delay in here with a little bit of reverb. So we can just bring that up a little. And let's put some fade.
We will never. We will never go.
Now you can always play with the fade and, get a little bit better effect on the transition.
We will never.
I think this one sounds pretty good.
We will never go until.
So you can spend a little more time to find a better position where it sounds perfect. But I think you kind of get the point here. So I think this will prove it's always better to make a reverb tail from just one note or one word. The result is going to be a lot much cleaner. It's going to sound on tone and on key as well. Always pay attention to the reverb size. That way you can kind of have like a tunnel and a longer sound to kind of draw it out and smooth the transition. So let's try and do the same thing, but this time we'll do that on the drop. So let's play it. So I've got some processing on here already, but I think it's going to be better to disable it before we start doing all this. So let's copy this part, and we'll put it over here. And as you can see, we don't have a sidechain set up on it yet. I want to make a clean version of it. That way we can kind of have some different options to work with. So let's move that. So I don't think we need the piano track here. Now this send from that group, let's create a new audio track. Now let's set the input from instrument. We'll put that in. So pay attention, it's not going to sound processed from the sidechain, but here you can kind of experiment and put the sidechain version and get some different effects on there. So I'll put a reverb here. Now I will record this. So let's put it in audio so we can reverse it. So let's record it. So we'll need the first note, and this is why you need it to kind of be longer for that part. So here's what we got. Same thing, and now, so let's reverse it. Now let's cut out all that unnecessary stuff. Reverse it. So now let's see how it sounds with the reverb, but let's end with one note. So let's create another audio track, and we'll set it here. So we'll call it drop audio. Now let's set the external to drop audio, click in, enable record. So let's set no input. And we'll put reverb here on this audio track. So let's set it a little bit longer. Something like that. So let's record it. Okay, now we have that tail. So let's reverse it. Let's set auto. Let's hear what we got. So we only need that tail there. So let's hear how it sounds in context. Let's hear everything with the instrument group. So we only need this part, so let's play it.
DJ, give me more. Everybody.
So let's make it a little louder.
Everybody.
Not too bad. Now, if we made it with just one note, it'll sound a lot cleaner though. So let's set this to red. And let's make it from just one note of this. Alright, we'll pick that note. So I use the same settings here, so we'll cut these parts here. So this is what we have. Well, actually, they sound pretty much the same. But I still would prefer this one. I just know it does sound a little bit cleaner. It's not the best example, but you get the idea. All right, let's remove the old ones and we'll copy over this new one here. Well, actually, let's compare both versions here. Let's just make sure. Yeah, I still prefer this one. I still think it does sound a lot cleaner and better. So basically the idea of the tutorial here is you need to make reverse reverbs from one note or one word or one little phrase of the sample. It's going to sound a lot cleaner, and you can always add the extra reverb or delay or any other post-processing and effects. You can play with some fades, kind of make your placement a little better and cleaner and smoother. Always remember to pay attention. Pay attention to your settings. Look at your processing. Make sure everything is set correctly. So you can always set it to a smaller size and get a bigger tunnel. That tunnel effect there. All right, let's cut that unnecessary part. We don't need that. And we'll flip that. So let's compare it. We'll make that one green. Now we have a few options here. Now this one has a little bit more signal and not so much reverb. And this one's more dirtier and kind of behind. So you can always experiment, you know, pick different ones, different tails, kind of see how they sound. Yeah, I think this one is the better one. So pay attention to all of your settings, everything that I told you, and just make sure that you have a really nice, clean, solid reverse reverb tail to really make the effect work. So thanks for watching the tutorial, and we'll see you later.